Good evening and welcome back to the Bison Information Network. I'm Jacob Morgan.
And I'm Corey Hartle. We have plenty of news to cover tonight, so don't go away.
Thank you for joining us tonight. North Dakota isn't necessarily known for producing feature films. However, one production company in Bismarck is dedicated to changing that.
I got the chance this week to talk with Daniel Belinsky, the writer and producer of an upcoming film set in North Dakota. When many people think of North Dakota, the setting of a feature film isn't the first thing that comes to mind. However, when Daniel Belinsky moved to North Dakota in 2015, he wanted to change that. And in 2018, he started a production company called Canticle Productions that set out to do just that.
My company, Canticle Productions, is dedicated to telling true stories from North Dakota history. I think there's a wealth of amazing material in North Dakota history.
The company has completed 3 feature films, with the third, End of the Rope, premiering at the end of March. End of the Rope focuses on the true story of the Charles Bannon case from 1931 in Schaefer, North Dakota. After Bannon confessed to murdering a family of 6, members of the community decided to take justice into their own hands.
When's the last time you saw Albert?
No, I don't really make regular.
Any of the Havens?
In 1931, Northwest North Dakota was a very different place from 1931 Chicago or New York or wherever. They were cut off on 3 sides by water, and they were a generation away from the homesteading era. These were people who had to protect themselves. Law and order from Bismarck, North Dakota, which is where the closest law and order was, that might as well have been in Chicago.
While Bannon was awaiting trial in a stone jailhouse, a mob of 75 men took him from the jail and hung him off a bridge. No members of the mob were ever arrested or identified.
These weren't a bunch of drunk cowboys doing that. These were family people who were actually, they wanted to protect their families.
The film was shot over 4 weeks, with 3 weeks of filming being done in McKenzie County, where the story takes place.
It was a huge logistical undertaking. We burned a building down. We built a town in the middle of a field. We shot in 2 different cities. We shot in a sound studio up there. We created a sound studio from a warehouse, so we had interior sets.
Daniel plans to continue making movies focused on North Dakota stories, and he believes that this could be the start of something bigger.
The stuff that would have cost so much money, the cars, that would have cost so much money if we were shooting in California. So the fact that there's that this is the beginning of an industry here in North Dakota, I still think there's so much excitement around it, and the community, the kind of the grassroots feel for it, makes it possible to make films that have a very high level of production value, but still do it for modest amounts of money.
End of the Rope premieres on March 24th in Watford City, with other red carpet premieres taking place across the state in the following weeks, including at the Fargo Theater on March 31st. From Bison Information Network, I'm Corey Hartle. A link to the End of the Rope trailer and the ticket website can be found on our website. NDSU students who show their IDs at the door for the Fargo premiere will also receive half-price tickets. Are you looking for something to do on Friday night? Floaty Night is back at the Wellness Center from 8 to 10:30 p.m. this Friday. The pool will be filled with giant floaties for NDSU students to enjoy. This free event is only held once a semester.
Campus Attractions is hosting a virtual scavenger hunt this week. The Bison Blizzard Bash will be closing tomorrow night at 11:30 p.m. To access the scavenger hunt, download the Goose Chase app on your smartphone. The code to join is 5W95ZZ. There's still time to earn points to potentially earn prizes.
The Wellness Center is also hosting an indoor triathlon this Saturday from 12:30 to 4. Rather than focusing on a set distance for each event like a traditional triathlon, participants will go the furthest distance they can in a set amount of time. The competition includes a 10-minute swim, a 20-minute run, and 30 minutes of biking. The event is open to everyone.
The NDSU Clay Target Club is having their spring information meeting. The club focuses on trap shooting and skeet shooting. The meeting will take place from 6:30 to 8:30 in the Hidatsa Room in the Memorial Union on March 7th. Looking for a good laugh this weekend? Look no further than the Prairie Rose Room in the Memorial Union. This Saturday, To Be Determined, also known as TBD Comedy, will be hosting their improv show at 8 p.m. Admission is free, so bring a friend and enjoy some jokes. If you're looking to join TBD, they meet Mondays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. in Menard Hall, room 116.
NDSU Campus Attractions is hosting its monthly movie night Friday night in the Anishinaabe Theater at the Union. The first two Chronicles of Narnia movies will be playing. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is set to start at 6 p.m. with Prince Caspian beginning at 8:30. The event is free for NDSU students. When we come back, we'll have some local news stories as well as Bison sports for the week and the upcoming weather forecast. Stay tuned.
There are so many great things to experience at NDSU. It's hard to pick one, but my favorite is
the people. They make it such a warm place. The Bison aren't just across the country, they're across the globe.
It's the perfect distance from home. The faculty are our biggest cheerleaders. Hands-on research experience. The affordable tuition.
All the opportunities to stay active on campus.
Real-world learning experiences.
Once I got on campus, it felt like home.
My name is Addie Stewart, and I graduated from NDSU in the Department of Communication in 2018. My degree was in strategic communication, and I'm the communications specialist for the city of West Fargo. That includes social media, press releases, breaking news, interviews, media relations, and more. I went into communication because I wanted to do something I was passionate about. There were so many opportunities. I knew I could work for nonprofits, government, small business, agency work. Professors in the department definitely impacted me a lot in my life, making sure that once I graduated college, I knew I could get a job here just because of the connections in the department and the great morale that was in Fargo. Future students should definitely come to NDSU because it's a degree like no other here.
The NDSU bookstore has everything you need to show off your Bison pride. The bookstore can have you sporting green and gold wherever you go. It offers many different brands, sizes, styles, and selection so that you find exactly what you're looking for. Shop the NDSU bookstore and show your spirit today.
Welcome back to Bison Information Network. Police are investigating after a string of active shooter threats were made to multiple schools across the state this morning. Police received calls that both Ben Franklin Middle School and North High School in Fargo had an active shooter. The schools in the district were placed into lockdown for 15 minutes until police were able to clear the threats and determine them not credible. Police in Grand Forks, Bismarck, Jamestown, and Minot also received hoax calls today about their local schools. Fargo police believe the calls originated from outside the region and will open a full investigation. 6 officers at the Minot Air Force Base were recently relieved of their duties. The Air Force cited a loss of confidence in their ability to carry out their responsibilities. The decision followed a failed vehicle and equipment safety inspection, but the details were not released. Although the site is a nuclear-capable base, the officers were not involved with the handling of the nuclear weapons.
While the snowstorm kept most people inside, a Fargo man thought it would be a good time to steal a car. Marcus Warren was arrested for stealing a car with an infant in it on Wednesday. Fargo police were called around 3:20 in the afternoon. Within 10 minutes, officers made an attempt at a traffic stop. However, the suspect took off running. After not getting too far, Marcus was taken into custody. The officers found the kid safe in the car. Marcus Warren now faces several charges, including reckless endangerment, felonious restraint, theft of a motor vehicle, contributing to the delinquency of a minor, fleeing in a motor vehicle, preventing arrest, and criminal trespassing. The city of Moorhead is offering grants to start a community garden. The city is offering up to $500 in grants to start or operate a community garden on private land. The plots must either be free or low cost to reserve or join the community. The grant money must go to funding the garden. The application deadline is Wednesday, March 8th at 4 p.m. You can register on the City of Moorhead's website.
Although campus was closed yesterday, the weather didn't stop a historic Dairy Queen in Moorhead from opening for the season. Customers were able to get their blizzard during the blizzard as the restaurant continues its annual tradition of opening on March 1st. The 74-year-old store has no indoor seating and lets customers order at a walk-up window. The Dairy Queen will remain open through the end of October.
A Fargo dentist was arrested for allegedly stabbing a man at a cabin in Polk County. Officers say that the 35-year-old victim, named Zachary Papke, was taken into Essentia Hospital in Foston with stab wounds. Papke says he was sitting at a table when 51-year-old Daniel Mengedoth stabbed him with a pocket knife. Papke says the attack was unprovoked. Mengedoth has been charged with first-degree assault and is currently being held at the Northwest Regional Correction Center in Crookston, Minnesota. Luckily, Papke did not suffer any life-threatening injuries. Stick around as Malik Mitchell has the sports report from the past week coming up after the break.
One kid, one mentor, plus one moment can unlock limitless potential. One heart-to-heart, one inside joke. 30,000 youth are waiting. Be there for one of them. It's time. Become a big today.
The NDSU bookstore has everything you need to show off your Bison pride. The bookstore can have you sporting green and gold wherever you go. It offers many different brands, sizes, styles, and selection so that you find exactly what you're looking for. Shop the NDSU bookstore and show your spirit today.
Founded in 1985, the Missouri Valley Football Conference has established a tradition of FCS football excellence. Competing at the highest level of NCAA Division I, student athletes at its 10 institutions demonstrate character, passion, and integrity as they grow as a student, an athlete, and a citizen. The Missouri Valley Football Conference, where leaders are shaped and champions are forged.
There are so many great things to experience at NDSU. It's hard to pick one, but my favorite is
the people. They make it such a warm place. The Bison aren't just across the country, they're across the globe.
It's the perfect distance from home. The faculty are our biggest cheerleaders. Hands-on research experience. The affordable tuition.
All the opportunities to stay active on campus.
Real-world learning experiences.
Once I got on campus, it felt like home.
The men's basketball team overcame two close matchups last week, gaining some momentum for this year's Summer League tournament, which kicks off tomorrow. Last Thursday, the Bison took on 5th seed St. Thomas in the Shield Center, and the Tommies were not going down easy, taking the lead at half, 31-28. Coming out of the break, the two would continue to trade points until the Bison pulled away a 10-point lead, 59-49, with just under 5 minutes left to play after a jumper from Grant Nelson. He would have a double-double for the night, scoring 20 points and grabbing 10 rebounds. With the Tommies shooting poorly, the Bison continued to keep their lead, later taking the victory 73-64. And then on Saturday, they took on 4th seed Western Illinois, and they went blow for blow with a miraculous finish. After a slow start, the Bison started to make some noise around 4 minutes left in the first half, going up by 10 points. Going into the half, 42-31. At the start of the second half, the Bison kept their momentum going, extending their lead to 16 points in the first 4 minutes. The Leathernecks fought back to overcome the 6-point deficit and took the lead with 6 minutes left of the game. With 9 seconds left, the Western Illinois sank 2 free throws to tie the game before Bowden Scumberg effortlessly hit a game-winning shot to take the win 71-69. With the win, the Bison took the 3rd seed for the Summer League tournament. They will be facing 6th seed USD on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. You can catch the game on Midcoast Sports or ESPN+. For the women's, they would also end their regular season with some momentum after last week's road win against St. Thomas in Western Illinois. Last Thursday, they beat the Tommies 64-44 after a big-time second half that helped seal the victory. Freshman Elle Evans led the Bison with 17 points after going 7 for 11 from the field, followed by 4 rebounds and 2 blocks. Senior Taylor Brown followed behind with 11 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals, and Emily Banky had 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. That Saturday, they faced the Leathernecks, defeating them 82-74, led by a stellar performance from Heavy Handling. Heavy Handling finished with 31 points with 4 rebounds and 3 assists. Elle Evans had 17 points, 3 blocks, and 2 assists, and Taylor Brown had 12 points and 11 rebounds. That concludes their regular season, earning the second seed in the Summer League tournament. Their first match will be on Saturday at 3 p.m. Their opponent is currently undetermined until Friday night. And then Bison Baseball competed at the Tony Gwynn Classic in San Diego, California this past weekend. On Saturday, they were defeated by Hawaii 1-13 and San Diego State 2-9. On Monday, they have a troubling doubleheader against UC State San Diego. In the first match, the Bison suffered a tough 1-7 loss. When they came back later that afternoon, they suffered another devastating loss, 14-6. Junior Kaden Schwabe led the Bison with 3 hits and 2 runs. Senior Drew Hackett followed with 2 hits and 2 runs. And senior Terrell Huggins had 2 hits and 1 run. And then on Wednesday, the Bison traveled to Tempe, Arizona to face Arizona State. After a strong start, scoring 6 runs in the first 3 innings, the Sun Devils fought back, responding with 6 runs in the 4th inning alone. They went down to the wire until Arizona State used a walk-off home run to take the win 10-9. Senior Peter Brookshaw led the Bison with 2 hits and 2 runs. Terrell Huggins had 3 hits and 1 run, and Drew Sackett had 2 hits and 1 run. They are now 1-8 overall. Tomorrow night, they'll face the University of Arizona in Tucson, Arizona at 7 p.m. Moving on to Bison softball, this past weekend they competed at the Plainsman Invite, going 2-for-2 for the tournament. On Saturday, they had a pair of games with Brown University being their first opponent, beating them 6-0. Carly Gochias led the Bison, producing 2 hits and 2 runs. That afternoon, they took on Auburn University and lost 9-0 in 6 innings. The next day, the Bison went back at it with Brown University and won 2-0. Carly Gochias struck back in this game, leading with 2 hits and 1 run. They came back a couple hours later to play Auburn University, but unfortunately couldn't avenge the loss they suffered the day before, as they would lose 4-0. After those set of games, they are now 6-8 overall. Tomorrow, they'll be competing at the Blue City Challenge in Memphis, Tennessee, with Drake University being their first opponent. The first pitch is set for 10 a.m. The men's and women's track and field team capped off their indoor season competing at the Summer League Tournament in Vermillion, South Dakota this past weekend. The men's placed 3rd in the contest, with the 4x4 relay team taking first with a time of 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Senior Jacob Rodin earned his 2nd indoor 800-meter title in his career with a time of 1 minute and 50 seconds. And in the field, Clayton Honula was runner-up in the shot put with a throw of 18.41 meters. For the women, senior Jody Lipp claimed her 3rd indoor triple jump title, winning with a leap of 12.31 meters. And senior hurdler Teresa Bollebrook ran a meet record and facility record of 8.32 seconds to win the 60-meter hurdles. She now holds the 2nd fastest time in school history. And lastly, Kendra Kelly placed 2nd in the 200-meter dash, clocking 23.98 seconds. Both teams will have a week to rest before kicking off their outdoor track season at the USF Bulls Invitational in Tampa, Florida on the 17th. And lastly, Bison women's golf returned after a 4-month-long break. They competed at the Grand Canyon Invitational on Monday and Tuesday in Phoenix, Arizona. Unfortunately, the team posted its 3rd lowest 54-hole total in program history to finish 5th, tied for 5th out of 17 teams. Maddie Hicks tied for 17th place with the season low of 218. Leah Scar followed behind, finished tied for 19th place. Elise Hoven had a career best of 220, finishing tied for 26th place, while Joe Baranchik came in tied for 46th place, and Corrine Monty tied for 58th place. The Bison will be back in action at the Pizza Hut Lady Thunderbird Invitational next Tuesday through Saturday in St. George, Utah. Well, that's all I have for our Bison Sports Report. Now let's take it over to Dash Menzel for your weekly weather. Just when we thought a couple of weeks ago, Dash, the weather will gradually get better, and then yesterday we get hit with a winter storm.
Yeah, unfortunately that winter storm added a few inches of snow to our area and to a lot of other areas in the country as well. So as we look at our forecast currently, the current conditions are 19 degrees Fahrenheit, and it feels like only 1 degree right now as the winds are at 17 miles per hour and gusts go up to 25 miles per hour. And you can see we have this big Werner truck on the highway right behind me here. As we go for the hour-by-hour forecast, it is mostly cloudy right now with 21 degrees, but as we go over the overnight hours, it will be scattered clouds and then mostly clear by tomorrow morning, with temperatures being in the mid to low 20s. As we look at our skycast, sunrise tomorrow morning will be at 7:05 a.m. with the sunset being at 6:13 p.m. which gives us just over 11 hours of sunlight. And then as we look at the moon phase right now is the waxing gibbous phase, and then on March 7th we will have the full moon. As for today's almanac, we have a high of 21 degrees today with a low of -8. The average temperature right now, not too far from our high today, 29 degrees. Our average low is 11. And then a record high of 56 set back in 1905 and a record low of -24 back in 1960. Man, I would have liked that 56 degrees today. And as for our current conditions across the country, really warm across the southeast portion of the country with 80s in Texas and Florida. And then as we look over, mid-50s throughout the middle eastern part of the country, and then most of the rest of the country in freezing or colder weather, especially in Fargo where they're only at 16 degrees right now up here. And meanwhile, there's a lot of precipitation throughout the entire country. A heavy rain impacting Illinois, Missouri, and Arkansas. And then meanwhile, the Northeast is getting hammered with ice and snow, as well as the Pacific Northwest. They are also getting hit with plenty of snow as well. And as we look at our 7-day forecast today, or tomorrow's forecast, 33 degrees with partly cloudy conditions. Saturday, 31 degrees with partly cloudy conditions as well. But as we head into Sunday and Monday, we will get some snow in the forecast as we have good chances for snow on Sunday and Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday will be cloudy with highs of 22 and 23. And then next Thursday, mostly cloudy with a high of 20. Now, we also have some photos that we have sent in as well. This first photo sent here in Fargo by our own Lydia Lafine as she found a car in one of the parking lots on the university that is just completely buried in snow. And this is the case for a lot of people around town, as there are a lot of cars that are currently buried under the snowbanks. And then we also have a picture from Kat from Wofford City, North Dakota, which is a beautiful picture here of the Northern Lights. Thank you so much for those pictures, for those who sent them in. And if you would like to send in pictures of your own, you can do so by sending in your photos at www.ndsubin.com/news. Well, that's all I have for weather, so back to you at the desk, Malik.
Well, Dash, hopefully we can stay in the positives until I head out for spring break and go someplace warm.
I think we're all looking for some warmth right now. I think we're all sick of the cold weather at this point.
Definitely. Well, that's all we have for this evening's newscast on the Bison Information Network. Thank you for joining us, and have a good night.